Good afternoon, you guys. So we're here today to talk with Michelle Wolf. I just love her name, Michelle Wolf. She's out in California and she has created a pretty phenomenal movement that she calls EmpowHer LA. She's going to come to us today, talk to us about her journey to this spot. What was her motivation of creating a space for women and also just inspiring them in their lives, giving them tactical things to do. So I can't wait till she gets here. I think she's just relatively new to this process, but I think she's been doing them on her own. So just give us a minute before she gets here. I'm excited to dive in and learn more about her. Wherever people are just dropping love and light and wisdom and grace in this world, we should be appreciative and we should be excited and we should be heralding that because we never have enough. We never have too much. Okay, Michelle. I'm looking forward to it. Okay, Michelle. So what I know now, if you've watched this before, when I see her name pop up, then I'm able to invite her into the room and then we're all able to chat together. So I'm just gonna kind of hang out here. Okay. It's Cinco de Mayo, and my husband's already made a really amazing Cinco de Mayo meal that I can't wait to partake of after this is over. I asked Michelle, hey, Michelle, is it going to be all right if, there she is, if we do it on Cinco de Mayo? And she's like, I'm Mexican. So yes. So I love it. Michelle,
how are you? Good morning.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Oh, girl, look how beautiful your skin looks. Of course I hear you.
Okay, you're sweet. You're sweet.
Not sweet, honest. I'm very honest.
Well, that's very kind, Michelle. I was telling everybody who you are before you got here. And one of the things is we have never even met each other in person.
No, I'm so, I have to tell you, one of the things, I'm so honored that you would just reach out. I think more people need to do that more often. That's just like authentic connection. Like you see something in somebody and you're like, I want to meet that person.
That's exactly right. That's all I did.
That's where we think alike,
Oh, that is all we did. Honestly, I saw you and I was like, I see what this lady is doing over there. I want to talk to her. And you were kind enough to go, yeah, here's
Absolutely.
my number.
Well, I feel like the only thing we have right now is connection through technology, right?
Absolutely. Michelle, can you turn your volume up just a little bit, please?
Absolutely. Will do. Hold on. Can you hear me now better?
Yes, that's better.
So sorry. I'll move a little closer too.
No, it's perfect.
I was rushing to get, in LA.
I love your dimples, by the way. I'm a dimple fan, girl. I love those dimples. Anyway, go on.
Thank you. Although, like, the older we get, the dimples start to look like wrinkles. So I'm not sure about that.
They do not look like wrinkles. They clearly look like dimples. I always wanted to have dimples. Little lie. This is the truth. I used to try to bite my cheeks when I was a little girl because all of my little girlfriends who had dimples, I just thought they were the most delicious. Anyway.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So I just feel like, to your point, it's, dimples bring joy to people because they make you realize that you're actually, they make you almost feel like you're happier, even sometimes when you are, right?
I bet they do. See? That's even more of the argument of why I was like, God, why didn't I have dimples?
Oh, I don't know. You have a very beautiful smile. So
well, thank you.
Anybody that would see your smile would be invited in. So I think that's awesome.
Oh, good. Thank you, Michelle. So now I want everybody to know, what is EmpowHer? You know what? Actually, first of all, Michelle, where are you right now?
I'm in Los Angeles.
So you're in Los Angeles.
And actually, for those people who know LA or don't know LA well, I live actually between Santa Monica, the Palisades, and Brentwood, but in LA, West LA.
I love Santa Monica.
I do too, actually. I feel
God,
so, I, I love it because well, first of all, I love the beach. I
me
love
too.
being near the beach. I love being near water. Like for me, I need
Bahamas,
water.
Bahamian girl here.
Oh yeah, exactly. And North Carolina I've never been there. Can I tell you?
It's a
Has
beautiful
amazing
state.
beaches though, right?
It is a beautiful state because there's so much. You have mountains, you have beach, you have like backpacking area. It's just really a lovely state. It really is.
Well, that's why it's funny because there's been times in recent years, because California has become so overcrowded
Yeah,
that I have thought about looking at North Carolina actually, but I think my husband's a New Yorker,
I get it.
so he needs
This is
like
how you
big
can
city.
sell it. This is how you
Yeah,
can
tell
sell
me,
it.
tell me.
East Coast girl, because you can be to New York City direct flights from Charlotte because Charlotte is an international airport. It's the hub of American or the new American Airlines.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
you can go
okay.
anywhere.
He'll
Like you
like
can
that.
leave Charlotte and go to Germany.
Yeah, he'll
Direct
like
flight.
that because he's, American Airlines, what is that, Premier or whatever it is.
Yeah,
I don't know.
whatever the fancy names it is
Fancy
for you
name, and
people.
he gets in and out, and it helps me because I don't fly as much as I used to, like for work. So, but that's gonna change, girl.
It is. It's
Yeah,
about to change. So
it's on my visioning.
I love it. I want to do a vision. I looked through your stuff, so I saw that you guys had a vision board. And I was like, Michelle and I are going to have to do a Zoom or FaceTime a
I
vision
would
board
love
time
that. I
because
would
it
love
looked
that.
inspiring. I was like,
Yeah.
ooh,
Oh,
I
thank
want to be
you.
there.
Yeah, visioning is inspiring. I have
It
to
is.
say, and it
It
works.
casts that net.
Yeah, it works. And, I think people think of visioning as vision boarding, but vision boarding is the result of the vision you create for your life.
Yes. Ooh, you just gave me chills.
Thank you. Yeah.
Tell me
So,
this now. I want people to know, I know your core group of people, they know
mhm,
Empower Her LA. Can you
mhm.
tell us what is Empower Her LA?
Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
just say, it's something that people need to learn when they first get to know me, but you could just say empower, and
Empower.
it
Okay.
doesn't have to be empower her. It's
Okay.
empower, right?
Okay.
So, Empower LA is basically a coaching and female empowerment company. And what we do is, how do we do that? We do that through one-on-one coaching. I run women's groups, which are actually all being moved online right now,
Mm-hmm.
and we do workshops. And it's all meant from the lens of what is your life purpose, what do you want to create, and how do you want to get to your goal, right?
Right. Sorry,
So
I'm just
that's
getting.
pretty much who we are. And why did it launch? I've been coaching for about 15 years. My
Mm-hmm.
first firm was called Targeted Transitions. So when
Mm-hmm.
I left the corporate world, at that time, the intention was really about how do you make effective transitions and how do you flow through your transitions? And I still consider myself a transitional coach, and I think I'm really good at that.
Mm-hmm. And
But
what are some of those transitions that we're talking about?
we're talking about anywhere between, it could be like leaving your job, getting
Mm-hmm.
fired from your job,
Mm-hmm.
getting laid off from your job. It could be getting a new boss, but it could
That's right.
also be, I'm starting a new business. I'm a
Mm-hmm.
female entrepreneur. I have an idea and I don't know how to get started.
Ooh.
And in fact, actually, the groups are all meant from that lens. The groups are actually about, how do I take this idea that I have, this kernel, and turn it into an actual concept? How do I launch, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it's meant to be your launching pad for your future success, right? And I think, the thing is, right now, there's so many people without a job, as you
Mm-hmm.
know, and as we continue to move into the months ahead, it's only going to get worse.
Mm-hmm.
So my intention is to provide more platforms for people, and that's actually why I launched these half-hour coaching calls for people in the last month, and in fact extended it. I'm not making the announcement until Thursday in my blog post, but I'm
You're going
extending
to
it
give me
into
all
May.
of the website information that I can share with people because this is going to be,
Absolutely.
I'm going to save this on my IGTV channel so it will exist there in perpetuity. So I want it to be something that people can look to and it's evergreen and they have the information and they can get on it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah. Like I said, I think in both our cases, one of the things
Mm-hmm.
why we're attracted to each other is because we give to one another, right?
Absolutely.
And I
Like
think,
you asked for my address so you could send me some awesome beauty counselor, which we're going to get into.
yes. Yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. That's a secondary. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's another one of my jobs.
Yes, I love it.
Exactly.
How many
Well, I
jobs,
mean,
how
let's
many
face it.
hats?
Some of the most successful people have multiple jobs, as we know.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
And that's really, and we know through Forbes magazine, it's been written up that having side hustles or another hustle is important. That's almost like your retirement money, right?
Yeah. I love that the word hustle has made its way into the lexicon of like everyday business people, because on the streets, people have been hustling for years.
Oh,
So it's
I
really
know.
interesting now to see like people having books called Side Hustle. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my God, like my uncles have been saying these words for years, but it was a different type of hustle.
Yeah, it's so funny you say that because I really went through this process. Like when I left the corporate world and, I spent a significant period of time in my life in the corporate world. When I left the corporate world, I really wanted to unveil how people needed to learn to be, right? And how they needed to learn to make that transition into what do you really want in your life? How do you want to create the life that you want to live? Like instead of living within obligation, because so often you're living to their goals, And so,
Yeah, I always say as long as you work for someone, they will always tell you how far you can go and how much you can have.
absolutely, absolutely. But they pay you.
Right.
Exactly.
They do.
Yeah,
They do.
versus you hustling for it, right?
Yeah, they do pay you, but
yeah,
there will be a limit. There will always be a limit.
There will always be a limit, and that's the beautiful part about being an entrepreneur.
That's right.
You could hustle for that money, and it just depends on where your motivation comes from, right?
That's right.
And I think that that's the thing that truly stepping into becoming an entrepreneur and launching EmpowHer and making it big. Like when I first launched, people were like, you don't have to go out big in your community. You could just like, keep it on the, keep doing what you're doing, but just have like more groups. And I was like, I don't think so. I think if I actually became 60 or 70 and I knew I didn't give it my 100% effort, I'd be bummed.
Yeah.
I want to step in because I want to be a model for other women that's what this is about. It's about us stepping in, supporting one another and cheerleading each other to get to where we want to go. Right. So going back to the hustle is that I really thought about this over the last 3 years is that both are needed. It's the hustle and the flow. In fact, I did a blog.
Like the movie Hustle and Flow, girl.
Seriously, right? Girl, it's so true.
Yes.
Because, I felt like I was attracting these people that are from the spiritual realm, which I'm super spiritual.
I get it.
But are like all about the being. But realistically, you can't actually create without doing. Right.
You have
to find the balance.
The two are married to each other. They're brothers and sisters. They can't exist without one another. One will not be healthy without the other. Yeah.
Exactly.
To have the spiritual wellness is great, but you got to have the action behind it.
Yes, I agree. And I think the thing is that that's where you or I come in, is that is our niche in the world. Right. Is that I make the inaccessible accessible through my workshops. So I do a lot of 360 mind body experience. And why do I do that? Because people need to ground their learning, like the mind learning, in their body and through movement to understand, like all people learn differently, right? So it's like there's kinesthetic learners, there's visual learners. And so that's
oratory learners. Yep.
Exactly. And we want to bring them those gifts by providing these opportunities in different ways.
Yeah.
And, that goes back to the whole hustle and flow. Because I felt like I was meeting all these people that are like in the Zen mode, which I'm totally can be Zen. But
I hear what you're saying.
Zen and a time for action.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of the difficulty with the people who are overly, and I don't want to say overly spiritual because how can you be too much? But those people who are kind of untethered and it's very ethereal.
Yes,
the difficulty is that I think that they don't even know that maybe a step is needed to do, and if a step is needed to, what does that step look like? Like what is it? So I think even though you probably had a lot of people like that who were drawn to you, you actually had something that they actually desperately needed, and that those were the tactical steps.
Absolutely.
Now we hear the vision, we see the intention. I love that you have this. Now what are we going to do to make that happen. One of the questions I love to ask people is, tell me what that looks like. Tell me what
Exactly.
it looks like.
Yes.
Because that
Because
usually
when you can
shows
draw a
us the
picture of
negative.
it, right?
Yeah.
Because when you can draw a picture of it, then you know what direction that you want to go in, right?
Right.
You have some sort of visual that's tangible that
Right.
makes you understand or relate to what you might want, right? It's like I tell people this. I was talking to somebody this morning who I was coaching, and I said to her, I was like, I am very clear on what I want to create. I saw something, I saw a visual of, I was like, why on my visioning did you see me with a community of women that look happy and that are congregating together? It's because I know that collaboration and community are one of my two top values. And so for me, I want to bring women together in that way where we are all working toward a common goal, whether that is
Love
merely
it.
just building community with one another, right? So we
Uh-huh.
have, when we were younger, I'm sure similar to you, there were so many communities available to us. There was the church community, the school community, your
Mm-hmm.
neighborhood community, and your friends,
Right.
but now everybody lives within these silos.
Yeah.
And I want to break the silos. We need to break the walls so that we can
How are we,
connect.
how do you propose we break those silos?
It's interesting that you say that. So that's why going back to like in my women's groups, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or in any community that I build, I try to build a deeper layer of depth where people truly understand who you are. So what does that mean? We do these things called lifetimes, right?
Ooh.
So I'm going to ask you a question.
Oh,
When
good.
was the last time that you were able to sit for 45 minutes to an hour and not be interrupted?
Hmm. It's hard for me to come up with a time.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So the reality is this, right? We provide a space for people in these for a connection of
Yeah.
understanding, where part of what we do is we hear your life story from I was born on this day to date, right?
Mm-hmm.
No interruptions. People just take notes. And
Ooh.
then they get to ask their questions afterwards. We rank it on a level of 1 to 3 in importance. So when we're talking about building the community and the connection, it's a depth of understanding, one, that even your deepest friends or your sisters may never know.
Ooh.
So there's a trust level that's built with those people through the vulnerability that one shows, right?
How do you that you show? Because that's what that you actually just kind of answered, and I still want to ask the
Yeah.
question so that you can actually say that. How do you create a space that allows people to feel safe enough to be that vulnerable?
Well, I mean, we have a trust and confidentiality that starts at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
We develop a code in the group. So we
Okay.
write that together. Like,
Okay.
what does that look like? What do you need? How do you like to be
How
held?
many women are in this group at a time?
No more than 10,
I
because
know it gets too
yeah,
water. I love it.
yeah.
Okay, no more than 10.
Realistically, there are 8 women that would be ideal, right?
Mm-hmm.
10 women is kind of max. 12 we've done before. It gets a little hard
It
because
does.
then you really you want like that person to have 6 to 7 minutes to really share in a
Sure.
forum. There's a structure that we actually welcome that. But in addition to that, like uh we also like the vulnerability comes from the moderator. So why did I not want to initially? People were like, you need to move the stuff online. This is blah,
Mm-hmm.
blah, blah. And I said, but part of it is the connection, the deep connection that I know people have to me because
Mm-hmm.
I allow them to be seen.
That is powerful. One of the things I interviewed a Franciscan monk a little
Oh,
over a
very
month
cool.
ago.
I love that.
Oh, and he was so amazing. And one of the things he said is that, very few people have anybody who just sits down and says, tell me your story. I see
Absolutely.
you.
This is what I
I see
need.
you. And
Yes.
it's that being seen and heard is intrinsic. It's an intrinsic desire and need of human beings.
Yeah, you're gonna make me like you're gonna make me cry, like really tear up because I have to say, it's so interesting to me how you were attracted to me. You reached out to me because you knew me. You
Yeah,
saw me.
I saw you.
And the thing
And I think that
is
I even
that,
said that in the message. I see you.
yeah,
I
yeah,
see
you
what you're
did
doing.
say that. Absolutely. And I
Hmm.
think the thing is that to your point, people don't stop to see their essence.
No.
And that's the difference between you and I. When I want to connect to somebody and when I coach somebody, I know people think it's like so out there, but I'm like, no, I see you. I
Hmm.
see you at your higher self. I don't see you as where you are now. I know what's possible for you. It's you getting there to believe in you.
You know what I want to ask you right now, because I
Yeah.
think it will be powerful, so
Mhm.
that we can really drive this home on the power of seeing. Tell us a story where you were interacting with a virtual stranger,
Mhm.
but you sat in the space of seeing them and something magical happened. Can you tell
Of
us the story?
Was it, of course, I love telling stories. Was it a virtual stranger or what, like meaning virtually, or was it like
No, no,
literally?
just somebody you truly did not know. Like maybe
Yeah,
you're sitting on,
totally.
public
Totally.
transportation. You're
Yeah, yeah,
sitting
yeah.
next to them at Starbucks. I just want people to see, so that we're not just talking about these concepts and theories, but like, okay, every day. Here's Michelle Wolf, which I love saying your name, so I'm probably never going to stop. Sorry, Michelle Wolf.
You gotta see my maiden name in there because it is Cinco de Mayo. So Valenzuela.
Valenzuela, Michelle Valenzuela Wolf. Ooh,
That's right.
Jesus Lord, you better be doing something, girl. Um,
Everybody keeps saying, "Where's the book?" Because it's a perfect name for a book.
it
Meaning like
really is.
an author. It's
It
coming. It's
is.
coming.
So that's, I think something speaking to you. So anyway, but I want to take it out. We're talking concepts here, and
Yep.
to us who live it, these are just normal ways that we live. But let's take it out of the conceptual world. And for those people who are like, this is all new, seen and heard, blah, blah. What is a
So
time where
I'm
you
gonna
actually saw someone, something really amazing transpired?
Yeah, I'm going to share two stories with you because I think it'll help you understand me.
Good,
Okay.
good.
And I'm going to keep them short, but
You
like,
don't have to. It's us,
okay,
girl.
we'll go on for hours.
Yeah. My
So
husband
here's
told
the
me I
deal.
needed to, because I was showing too much boobage. So
Oh, I like it. Keep it going. So now we're going to another level. No,
yeah, I
just
was like,
kidding.
oh, I am. Okay.
Oh, girl. I like the green popping out.
Right.
Um,
It was a pretty dress. But anyway,
I think
go on.
so. Anyway, so here's what I'm going to share with you. This speaks to what we're really talking about is heightened intuition. Okay. And intuition is a concept that a lot of people have trouble grasping. Okay.
Hmm.
But people will call it at its very menial level, like your gut instinct. Okay.
Hmm.
When I was a child, I could feel people's energy
So could I.
and I knew when I felt safe and when I didn't feel safe. Okay. So it started back then. As I started to continue living my life, I shut it down because it scared me.
Hmm.
And then as I left the corporate
And
world,
life probably let you know that other people weren't experiencing that too. And so you're the oddball.
exactly.
Hmm.
So, and my mom would just be like, oh, you're too sensitive. You're, this, you're that. But, honestly, my mom had it too. It's in our family. My
Hmm.
mom would meet people. I'd bring people to the door and she would say, I don't like them. Like like they'd come to the door, I'd open it, and then I'd be like, oh, I'll be right back. I'd close the door. She'd be like, I don't like them. I'd be like, how do you know? You don't even know. Why are you like judging somebody? That's
In the
awful.
Bahamas, we say, my spirit didn't take that person. That's what I
Yeah.
remember hearing my aunts and my cousins and uncles say, like, oh, my spirit didn't take that person. And it was, I don't like them. And
Yeah.
not knowing anything about them. And now as an adult, I hear what they were really saying, even though they may not
Absolutely.
even know what they were saying. They felt it.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Yeah. And I think that that's the thing. So going back to the story, like I had to tap back into my intuition because if you shut it down, it's not that you don't feel it, it's just that you don't trust it. Right.
Mm.
And as women, we often either overtrust our instinct or intuition or undertrust. So where's the balance? Right. So I'm going to share with you two stories. One story is when I was a child, I remember being in the car, driving down the street, and seeing this man in the car next to me. And I had this hit that was like, he's going to take me. He's going to steal me. Isn't this weird?
No.
Okay. So I literally, as a child, started making like really weird faces. So that my instinct back then was to do strange things so that the person wouldn't like me or want
Wouldn't
me.
want you.
Yes. That I would be like, what is it called? Maimed or,
Yeah, you're like,
that's
I don't want her anymore.
that's exactly the face, by the way.
Yeah.
I'd be like, like, and, and so that was when I was younger. Okay.
Uh-huh.
As I got older, many people will tell you this. Okay. Somebody will walk into the room, and my approach to networking or community building or whatever we want to call it, okay, is I don't go to talk to the president in the room. I don't go to talk to the executive vice president. I may even know them.
Mm-hmm.
I actually look around the room and I feel the energy to see who needs to feel grounded and connected in that room.
Girl, that is power. I do the same thing. I do
Right?
the very same thing. I do.
Because we have such extreme confidence and feel the need for those people.
And sometimes it does lead you, in fact, to the
Absolutely.
president or to the
Totally.
powerhouse. But I go by that exact thing. Where's the need? And the need draws me.
Absolutely. And it's funny because when I was young, here's another example. When I was young, I actually was like, I had so much anxious anxiety about being late.
Yeah.
So I would force my mom, we literally could walk to school. I would force my mom to get to the outside of the gates a half hour before the gates would open and sit there anxiously before it would open. Okay.
Why do you think you had that? I'm just curious.
I actually think well, it's an interesting thing. I went to this parochial school before I went to public school. And I think the parochial school gave me a lot of anxiety. Mm-hmm. And I think that I'm a pleaser. So I was always really worried about being late because I didn't want to disappoint anybody.
Sure.
And it was always this perfectionistic thing about overperforming and overachieving.
Yeah.
And so it's funny because when people meet me now, I was just having a conversation with this woman who works with me yesterday. She's like, we were talking about this woman we're working with that's type A. And she said, she was almost inferring, well, you're so much more relaxed than her. I said, that's my new MO.
Right.
My new MO is to appear more relaxed, but realistically, I'm holding it all inside, girl.
Right.
But people who know, they know that I am not relaxed, or else I could not create what I create.
Right. No, I struggle with anxiety too. And I realize now as an adult, I had it since I was a child. I see places where I was like, oh my God, little Shay was having an anxiety attack, and I just didn't know what it was. And I just thought it was this odd thing inside of me, and I didn't know how to communicate it. I didn't have language for it. So I just kind of kept it inside. And so people would probably just have perceived me as a fun-loving kid.
It's interesting that you say that, because I think to myself, I had people at my 20-year high school reunion that were like, wow, I can't believe all the things that you did. I had no idea. I would never have thought that you would be doing all of this stuff, because you used to be so afraid to speak in public or different things like that. But I think I had the voice all along. I used to be actually quite shy, because I was a third child, 6 and 7 years younger than my sisters.
I was 7 years younger than my sister.
And I think I never found my voice until later, because I was afraid that my opinion wasn't wanted.
That's it. You didn't know that you actually had something to say that people needed to hear. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, which I think a lot of us don't realize that in our youth. And actually, I've been really toying around with this a lot in my head as of late. But I think life tries to life is brilliant. It's brilliant, but it's also brutal. Yes. And I think there's this part of life that tries to choke us all out.
Yes.
And in that choking, you don't know your voice. You think you fear you have nothing to contribute and nothing to say. And I think that's why the thing that I always want people to know when I'm interfacing with them is, if you're alive, two things are irrefutable. There's a need for you to be who you are, and there's room for you to be who you are. So be it. There's need and room. Need and room.
Absolutely. And it's basically like your voice matters and
Absolutely.
you're worthy. So like going back to the friend that said, you don't have to launch in our community because look, she knows how tough our community is.
Right.
If you're not like, the top of whatever,
Yeah.
then like, who are you? Right.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
I
Right.
live in LA, right?
If you're not like Gwyneth Paltrow with Goop, it's like, what are you talking about?
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. And I said to her, you know what? It's interesting. I want to go out in my community because my community needs me.
You do.
My community needs to know that it doesn't need to be perfect to get started.
And you
And
know what? They really
yeah,
desperately want to know that. Even if they
they
don't know how,
do.
they do. They desperately want to know that.
Yeah, they really do. And I think, I think I'm so glad I did. It's not that it didn't come without judgment or pain or all of that. And listen, judgment's not bad. Judgment's only bad if people misuse it.
Mm.
Judgment's an observation.
Ooh,
So
I like that.
yeah, it's true. I mean, like,
Judgment itself is not bad. It's what we use it for that can make it good
absolutely,
or bad.
absolutely,
It's just an
absolutely.
observation. So I judge that this sweater is black. That's
Mm-hmm.
it's an observatory thing. Oh, it's a black sweater. Hmm.
Exactly,
Hmm.
exactly. And it's
Now, if
only
I said
when
it's a black sweater and therefore it's disgusting and never keep it away, never have it near me, that's where the judgment comes in.
it's the negativity in it,
Ah, I
right?
love that.
So how do we
Judgment is
remove the
just an observation.
negativity
Hmm.
from the judgment, right?
Hmm.
And yeah, so it's interesting because so going back to the part of like how do I allow them to be seen and the vulnerability, I'm not afraid to name it. Just like
Ooh.
you're not afraid to ask. Like I see that you're very bold and you'll ask questions. It's like I was on a call with this woman doing a live a couple weeks ago, and I had a choice. Her husband's blind,
Uh-huh.
okay, and it really hit me. I was like, wow, she could have left him. Like when he became blind, she could
Hmm.
have said, I don't need to be
I'm
around for
out of
this.
here.
I don't want
Out
to
of here.
carry that weight. But I decided to ask her. I had the courage to ask her why. Why did she stay?
The
Why did she
courage.
step in?
Hmm.
That's right.
Hmm.
And people stop themselves all the time. They're afraid to get the no. They're afraid
Mm.
to not be liked. And I remember when I left the corporate world and I was working with this coach who changed my life. She's up in Canada. She's not on social media or anything, but her name was Joanne Starnub. And I worked with her literally. It was like getting my master's. I was on the phone with her sometimes 6 to 8 hours in a day. She would assign me homework. I would read everything. We would come back. I would test things, you know, and it was amazing. She was the one who actually recommended I become a coach because when I left the corporate world, I was doing amazing networking. I used to tell my husband, I'm the busiest consultant that I ever known. Like I was working for Disney at the time. I'm like, but I still am unclear on what I want to do. I've met a million people, but I'm like,
How do I
I'm
bring it
overwhelmed.
together? What's the purpose of all of these meetings? Hmm.
Exactly. And she said to me, have you ever thought about being a coach? And I said to her, what's a coach? Because back then, nobody knew what a coach was. It was
Right.
like, an athletic coach.
Right.
And she was like, you would be perfect at it. You're one of those people who holds people accountable. You allow them to focus. You allow them to discover, all these things. And I said to her, I don't know. I'm a marketer. I want a product. I work better with a product. And she's
Right.
like, but the person is your product. And I said, yes, but I can lead the horse to water, but I can't make it drink.
Right.
And why I like coaching better than therapy is that it's more active. It's
Yeah,
action oriented.
it is.
And it's not
You have homework
unveiling.
assignments, things to do.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It's not unveiling a diagnosis. It's about moving you forward,
Yeah. Giving you
um,
tools too,
giving you
and giving you
tools.
tools, and you get to try out the tools.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Absolutely. So yeah, anyways, at that time she said, your heightened intuition will allow you to see people that most people never see someone. So when I go into a room and I said to you, I see the person that's standing by themselves, it's usually because I'm tapping into them.
I know.
And I can see their strength before they even see it. I could see their sadness before they see it. And I do this with friends too. They'll walk in the room and I'm like, what's wrong with you? You're not having a good day. And they'll be like, what are you talking about? I'm fine. Why do you always do that? And then a day later, they'll call me and they'll be like, how do you know that? How do you see it?
That's beautiful.
And so I think that that's the thing, is that the more aware we become, and the more we open ourselves up to that, the more heightened we become to connect with another individual.
So say I'm home and I'm watching this, and I'm not someone who I feel is particularly intuitive or spiritual. What are some things that you think that you could tell me to kind of just try it out, to do in my life, to kind of open that intuitive door the next time I'm in a group? Like, what are some things you could tell somebody to do?
A very easy thing to start with is parking karma.
I love where you're going with this. I know where you're going. Go ahead. Parking karma.
I think this goes back to the visioning. So if we start in the very beginning with where we were at, right? And you actually literally say to yourself before you leave the house, because I mean, look, when someday Corona opens up and we all start to get, at least in LA, at least, the parking's so crappy. And, I get anxious just thinking about going to Target or Costco or anything like that.
I know.
And so you
should see me at the grocery store.
Yeah, it's a mindset.
I know.
Right?
Know.
So before I actually go, I put the mindset in of what I want to attract.
Absolutely.
And the same thing goes into how I want to heighten my intuition.
So homework. Let's start by pulling into parking lots and go, okay, where do I want? I want the parking spot nearest the handicap spot in the front. That's the parking spot I want. And just to kind of go into the parking space with this intention of, this is what I want. And let's see if we can bring it to us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's a nice little homework assignment.
I think that's let's take it a step further.
Do it, girl. Take it.
So let's do the parking karma, but let's also request ourselves once a day to have a true connected conversation with someone that we don't know. So it's the guy that works the cash register. It's the woman who needs an extra smile. Because let's face it, all of us going into these stores right now to go shopping or whatever, there is a lot of fear. There's a lot of fear. And I can't say that I'm not without fear when I think to myself, oh my God, I don't have gloves on. How's this gonna
how's this gonna impact me?
Is this cart gonna be okay? Or does that cucumber have like a coronavirus and I don't know? Or, you know what I'm saying?
No, I get it, girl. I get it. And it's so wacky-do because the truth is we don't know. That's really the answer.
And I think in the I don't know only comes what we do know.
Right.
And what we do know is that we could create beautiful connections with people that will make us feel safe. What we attract is what we create. And I think so it starts with the visioning.
How do you do that in your life?
Putting that in. Well, I can actually show if you want.
Yeah, I do.
So I actually I do it every couple months, but I actually do. I do visualization every morning. So like I do it through meditation, but then before I even get out of the bed, I literally like outline my day. Like, what do I want from it? Like, today I was like, I'd be lying to you if I said like, I don't even know this woman. I'm just hopping on a call with her. I actually, and you and I talked about this, but I don't read people's websites. It's not my style.
Right.
So
I get it.
It's actually part of the fun for me.
Me too.
Getting to know the person without being like, oh, so they worked at this company and they did it. Who cares? Like that's just part of what you
it's
are.
A little bit of context, but I don't want to get too much into that before I get to the person because a part of my gift and a part of my talent is that I'm curious. I'm genuinely curious. I really want to know. And if I know all the answers, it will hamper me in asking the questions that sit in the hearts of other people. So I'm truly asking you questions that I'm curious about because I haven't had this conversation with you before.
Absolutely. And I think that that's the thing is that too many people are planning their life, or going back to like the networking component, right? People walk in and they're like, I'm only going to get the answer from the president or the CEO of the company or the guy who's presenting. Realistically, I have a completely different approach.
Yeah.
My approach is actually, I'm going to get to that guy and he may already know me, but realistically, I want to connect to those who actually may know him.
Yeah.
That's how I'm going to get to know who he is, actually, because I may not really want to know him in the end.
Right.
I mean, to be honest.
Right.
I may,
that is so
her,
true.
or her for that matter.
Or
right?
her.
You know, I may find this amazing person I connected to
Yeah.
that gave me so much more than I could ever imagine. I went to
Right.
just before Corona started, and I'm going to show you my visioning.
I want to see it, and I want to know how to do it, because I want a homework assignment, Michelle Wolf.
I'm going to give you one, girl. Oh, hold on. I'm looking for it. Hold on. Please hold. Hold on.
Oh, we'll hold.
Let's see.
Your house looks cool. I like that lamp.
Oh, thank you. Ready?
Just kidding.
Hold on. Let's see.
Oh, that's a great wall. Is that a fireplace over there?
Yeah, it is. Look, you want to see?
Yes, girl.
It actually
yes.
goes into the other room.
Oh, how sassy. You little sassy girl.
You would love this room in the winter because I've been regulated to the dining room. Everybody has their own private space but me. What is that all about? My husband has my office. It's all good. So I'm going to show you what I do, okay?
I want to see it.
It's something that we can do with your community, okay?
Yes, let's see it.
So the beginning of my year starts with me creating my purpose statement and outlining my goals at the back of the book.
Yeah.
This is the back of the book.
Yeah.
Okay. So I start with knowing what I want, and that's where I'm ending. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I go through all my goals, but in very specific, tangible ways, including financial goals, personal goals, professional goals, my family goals, all of that. Okay. Then I actually move from purpose statement and visioning and writing all of those things out into my vision. And I work actually in 2 to 3 month periods because I don't think you should outline your year because too much changes in between. And I think, really they say that like 95% of people, or I think it's 98% of people actually lose their New Year's resolutions from like February. And that's because they're thinking too big.
Yeah.
We need to break it back down to like small increments. So then
you're like 40 days later.
To the middle of the book.
Ooh.
So I go to the middle of the book and I actually start to outline what I want to create. Okay.
That's so funny. Your journal. See, I journal and my journal looks like that, but it's just because that's how my brain is.
So that's the woman that's traveling. Do you see her?
Oh, yes, I see her. Of course. And by the way, she looks like you.
I used to actually do international marketing. I used to travel the world.
Oh, I love it.
I want to create and take the adventure with me, right? So this is just part of it. So when I said to you, like the whole, there's pages of it, right? We could go on. But look, when I said to you that I want to be surrounded by a community that supports me, like that's me feeling good all over. Okay. And notice that there's all different cultures and people because that's who I am. Because if it was, my that just gives you an idea of it.
I love it.
Did
you sit down and do that all at one time?
No, I didn't actually. It's funny. It's a good question. I actually was doing it every Monday for an hour. So again, setting boundaries for what was important to me. Yeah. I started in January and I did the whole purpose and all of that kind of all at once because I could write very easily. Yeah. But I wanted to attract the right pictures. And in fact, actually something that I've been wanting to do.
Ooh, I'm going to do that, girl.
Again, during Corona. I've been wanting to do it again because the thing is that my vision has to shift slightly. I mean, I'm obviously not going to go traveling. And
because there's different things that exist now that didn't exist when you were envisioning, but still the essence and the intention of it is still alive.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
in fact, I would say to you, like people, going to the beauty counter business, a lot of people that are on my larger team, they're like, you're crushing it. Oh my God, I can't believe like you're doing like amazing. Like, and I set an intention. And when I set an intention, my intentions come to life.
Mm.
And it's
Do you
because
sit with your intentions on a daily basis when you set an
I do.
intention and
I do.
revisit it and touch it and water it and
I
take care
do.
of it?
Absolutely. Because like now my team is becoming really large, and I've been evaluating like, okay, this is what you wanted. Like, you're creating what you
Mm-hmm.
wanted. How
But
much
is it
time
what you
are
want?
you, yeah, how much time are you setting boundaries for
Mm-hmm.
yourself
Sure.
to continue to create everything that's necessary for you?
Mm-hmm.
Because when you do multiple things at once, as we know,
Mm-hmm.
you have to structure your day so that you can get the maximum out of it.
It's so true. Like I still have a job that
Yes.
feeds us and it's real estate. And yesterday I had to work between two different deals that I'm trying to lock in when I go back to the office. So yeah,
Absolutely.
I get it. And you still have to
Yeah.
do that, but then I still have to do this
Yes.
and I still have to
Because that
write.
feeds you. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that kind of, that explains it for
Can I,
you. Like,
can I
go ahead.
ask you a question?
Yeah.
I would love to know, in your particular life, what does meditating and what does setting that intention look like on a daily basis? Like, can you just like take like a minute, step us through it? Like, I wake up, I do this. Can you step us
Yeah.
through it
Yeah.
and give it
Sure.
some
For sure.
legs? Mm-hmm.
So, like, what I would say is that meditation comes through me a few different ways. Okay.
Okay.
So I believe meditation, one way I do it.
Came up and I just
It's
had to
okay.
define
I
it.
believe in meditation, meaning like I literally like will sit in my bed
I
and
love it.
create intentions and do breath work. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So if I wake up in the morning, my eyes come open, I don't immediately jar myself out of bed. I actually sit there and say, what do I want to create from this day?
Mm.
What are the things that
Oh,
I want to attract into my life, and
mm-hmm.
what result do I want from it? So I
Yeah.
literally ask those questions to myself
Sure.
and to God or the higher universe or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Once I
That
get
which is
out of,
bigger than you.
yeah, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I literally do not pull my phone and check my Instagram and my emails until after I do these things.
So that's key. That's
We
key.
have to not do that first, because that adds disruption to what we are trying to create. So, because again, this is your time. This is your time where you want to actually move forward towards something. So basically I do that first. I get out of the bed, I grab my coffee.
Mm-hmm.
I have a book, and I can show you my book.
Let's see it.
So I have traveled around the world with this book, and I love this book. And I often
What does it say? It's backwards for me.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's called A Guide to the Advanced Soul.
Ooh.
So this book is by Susan Hayward. It's actually just an intention book. Okay. So literally before I became a coach and I was still doing marketing, I traveled around the world with this book. I
Mm-hmm.
bought it, and I buy it for my women's groups and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I literally
down.
hold the book in my hand,
Mm-hmm.
and I say, please bring me to a quote that I'm supposed to be following for the day. What's my intention beyond what I just already set?
Sure.
Okay?
Sure.
So I
You
haven't
want
done
some
this.
supernatural infusion.
Absolutely. So I haven't done this today. So I'm going to do it with you. Okay. So I close my eyes. I think about my day, and I literally open it to any page. Okay. This is a long one. I don't know if you want me to read it, but
the answer is yes.
okay. So then I open it. Yes, you can get the name of the book. The book is called A Guide for the Advanced Soul, a Book of Insight. And it really, literally what it says down here is, hold a problem in your mind, open the book to any page, your answer will be there. And I will tell you, my friends, every day with my team, when I started EmpowHer, we would do a meditation every morning, and every morning we would set our intentions with this book.
Girl, I want to get that book going.
And every day we would go around the table. There were only 3 to 4 of us at any given day. And it was always spot on. So I'm going
I'm
to read you what mine says.
read us today. Come on.
Okay. And this is interesting. Suffering only hurts because you fear it. Suffering only hurts because you complain about it. It pursues you only because you flee from it. You must not flee. You must not complain. You must not fear. You must love. Because you know quite well, deep within you, that there is a single magic, a single power, a single salvation, and a single happiness. And that is called loving.
Ooh.
Well then, love your suffering. Do not resist it. Do not flee from it. Taste how sweet it is in its essence. Give yourself to it. Do not meet it with aversion. It is only aversion that hurts, nothing else.
What pages are that? Because
There's no page, but I can screenshot it to you.
What? Because
No
I want to
page.
read that again.
There's no page numbers in it. But what I love about this, it does tell you who wrote it, Herman Hayes. So, and I'll screenshot it to you later when we get off the phone. The interesting thing is about me pulling this page today. First of all, the interesting and weird freaking thing.
Go ahead.
I've never pulled that page before.
Get out.
Ever.
And you've had that book for years.
I've had this book for years. I've never pulled that page. I don't even know where it is because I, of course, just closed the book. But I'll find it. I'll find it so that I can actually send it to you.
Herman Hayes was the reading today.
Yeah, Herman Hayes is the reading. I know it's in here somewhere. We'll find it.
Yeah, that's right.
But the reality is, love is one of my greatest values. And so if you see on my, I'm going to actually take off my other bracelets because all my bracelets mean something. Okay.
Oh, I love it.
But I created these value bracelets. Okay.
Oh, I love it. What does it say?
It says love.
Love. Okay. I love
That is my greatest value. And on the back, it says, I am.
Oh, I am love.
I am love.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for me, I always wear things that are symbolic to that. And so I've been really struggling.
For me, this is my mom's.
I love that. I love that. And I've been really struggling with the fact that we just have to come from a place of love and understanding. We can't understand what is happening right now, but all we can do is hold the light for love. Love for those that are suffering, love for those that have less than we have, and love for those who are really struggling in this moment to be home.
Ooh.
You know, because whether or not you're in a whole home that is a beautiful home and people, you know, have everything they need, or if you're in a home that doesn't have, that lacks. I mean, the reality is this, is that we have to shine the light on love.
We do. And we have to do it in the little places, you know. So I think sometimes when people hear these grandiose, like love, they're like, but how do I do it? Do it right where you are. Exactly. Do it at the grocery store. Do it at the person who's sitting on the corner. Just do it. There's this homeless lady who lives, I live in an area that you never see. Like it's a part of Charlotte that if you really didn't venture out of it, you would think no homeless people exist. But for whatever reason, there's this one lady who is homeless right up here. And she's like, this is my real estate.
She's like, girl, this is my plot right here.
This is my plot. Yes, this is my real estate. Here's my dining room here. And she always has these two buggies, like two shopping buggies or carts, whatever you call them. And they're loaded down with stuff. I don't even know what it is. They're like plastic bags, but it's just, they're overflowing. And she must have like a little, like milk crate, and she sits them right in between them, and then she does like a little shelter over her, and she has her own little setup. And every time I drive by her, she rarely ever looks up, but every time I drive by her, and it's clear she emits a very strong energy, like, girl, not today.
Exactly.
And I'm like, I get you, but every time I drive by, I just see her. And that's how I can give love to her. I'm just trying to say, like, what are those? Because I think when people hear these like grandiose concepts of love, it looks like I have to, like I interviewed a remarkable, brilliant young lady yesterday who started her own, 501c3 nonprofit
Yeah.
organization. And that's amazing.
Yeah.
But even if you can't do that, because I don't have that skill set and I don't feel called to do that, I can do love in the little ways. I can do love when I'm over there at the grocery store and they have their shield and I have my shield and we're talking through. And I say, thank you so much. You have a great day. And I
Well, I
told this
think that
guy,
goes
thank you
back
for
to,
doing this.
I think you're right. I think it goes back to allowing people to feel seen.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes back to the idea of a simple smile goes a million miles, right?
Gosh.
You don't know.
You got stuck. Yeah, that's how it is. Yeah.
Like I feel called and I felt called. Oh shit, they keep bugging me.
Everybody's calling you right
And
now. I
I
get it.
feel like, I know, but I was going to say, like, I know it's a calling of mine to help people. I know it was a calling of my families. It's a calling of my mother's. My mom passed in November, but I felt called to create EmpowHer beyond just having my original coaching business, which I could have continued running because I had a women's group for 9 years. But I think the reason why I felt called to do it was that I felt called to go on a greater level to support women, to allow them to know that we are here for each other, that it's authentic, that it's not like, oh, I want to be big and it's all about me. And, this is about you. This is about me, meaning where you are at,
Yes.
so that we can help bring you forward, So, yeah.
So now it's going to shut us off in about 4 minutes, but I have a couple questions that I want to get out. So
Right,
I used to watch this show called Inside the Actor's Studio.
Oh, I used to work on that.
Get out. It's my favorite show. I call it my favorite, like low budget, big show. A lot of people have never heard of it. I adored it.
It was an amazing show.
And it was before all of the social media. So it was our window in to the actual craft and the person and who they were.
Yeah.
So I love James Lipton. So I like to end my interviews with some of his questions that I know he pulled from the French host, but I'm still going to use them.
That's okay.
So what sound or noise do you love?
I love two. I'm going to name two. One is I love the sound of my feet hitting the earth when I hike. I love the crunching of the rocks and the feeling of being grounded. That's one. The second is it's actually metaphorical for me. It's a reminder for me daily about flowing. Mm-hmm. I love the idea of a rock bobbling through a stream. Representing the flow of life, and that it doesn't need to be controlled, that rock is fine.
I love it. What's your favorite word?
Although I love words. I have a whole values game. I have a whole values game I play, which is it's an amazing game I came up with that needs to be marketed. So much things, so little time. I'm gonna say connection.
Connection.
Community and connection are my two greatest values.
Connection, community. Okay. If heaven exists.
It does.
I do believe it too. What do you want God to say when you get there?
Thank you for spreading the love. And it's going to bring tears to my eyes because I feel that. Because really, like for me, like I remember when I left the corporate world, there were some interviews that I went to where people said, I had to do these psychological profile tests and stuff for some of these things. And they were like, it's weird. I wouldn't have got this from interviewing with you. Like that it says that you're not assertive enough. And I said, wow, I've never heard that in my career. That's amazing. Thank you so much. I don't think that's the case. It must be the way I answered those tests.
Yeah.
And why am I saying
I had one too. That's it. Yeah. Tell me.
I'm
50 more seconds.
Because I rank money low in those things, not because I feel that I don't value money. I believe that by bringing my gifts forward, the money comes.
Yes.
And so when I say that I'm standing at the gates and God sees me, he's acknowledging me for bringing my gifts forward, and that I didn't die hiding them from the world. I died by sharing them explicitly with people.
We have 10 more seconds. I adore you, and I thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
And I'm going to call you the moment we get off here just to tell you how much I thank you.
Oh,
Thank you
I
so
love
much,
you.
Michelle Wolf.
Thank you so
You have a
much.
beautiful